Hi friends! Get your Skittles out. I mean paints. We're going to paint some beautiful rainbows. And I love Chinese watercolor for the beautiful brightness and bright colors. So we're going to have a lot of fun painting rainbows. I have made like 5 different cards. They're so much fun. And then I stamped them. So it's really kind of just a fun little way to add to your collection of cards, and I got them all done in like a couple hours. I had fun in the afternoon to just paint and stamp, and that's what we're doing. So come with me. I am so excited for this. I love springtime. I love looking for rainbows, and it just makes my heart happy. So I'm going to give you lots of tips on how to make like the perfect rainbow, or maybe you have a beautiful reference photo of a rainbow that you want to paint. I'm going to give you some tips on that as well. Hi, look at these awesome colors. I'm going to paint a rainbow for you. I hope that this brings you joy and happiness. It does for me. And I'm going to start with a bright yellow, like a sunshiny yellow. This is more of a like a lemon yellow, and I want a sunshine yellow, and this is a warmer-ish yellow, and it's number 43 if you have this Karatake set, but if you don't, that's okay too. It's one of my favorite yellows. It's been well loved. I love it. It's so pretty. It's granulating. It's just such a lovely paint. I love these paints. And then I'm going to go straight down from here. This is number 51. This is like a lime green, and I'm going to go into that yellow. So pretty. And I'm getting kind of this like little rainbowy effect, and that's exactly what I wanted. And now I'm going to go in with some blue, and I'm going to go in with like, it's almost like a cobalt. It could be more of an ultramarine. Anyways, it's beautiful. It's number 64. And I'm going to need a little bit more pigment on my brush. Woof! There, that should do it. Oh my gosh, look at that. So pretty. And then, since I have the blue, might as well go in with this beautiful, like violet. It's like deoxazine violet is maybe what I would call it. I want a lot on my brush, and I'm just going to go in like this. And there's my beautiful rainbow. Perfect for all sorts of colors. I love this background. There's some other fun ways that I can use color, but I really like that. That's such a pretty rainbow. Then I'm going to make the background pretty dark. But I'm going to start with the rainbow, and I'm probably going to start with pretty much the same colors. But I might actually start with a red. This number 32, bright red. I think I have a couple. I'm going to start here. And we're just going to do like this arch rainbow. Oh, look at that. That's so pretty. And while it's still wet, you have to kind of work fast. So you want your paints to be pretty wet so you can work kind of fast. And I'm going to go right in with that and get a nice yellow. And sometimes it doesn't want to blend, but that's okay. I have an orange on standby that I can just drop in right like that, and that will work. That's my yellow. I'm going to go straight in with my blue now, knowing that I'll probably need some green. I'll go right in here with my blue. It's a little weak because I added too much water, so we'll get that fixed like that. It's still a little weak. I'm going to have to really get my brush in there with lots of pigment. There. That's pretty good, but I still need some green. So we're going to go in with this beautiful green right here. I'm going to add that right like this. Oh my gosh, so lovely! And then purple and red, or sorry, blue and red makes purple, so we're going to go with a purple. Oh, it's like my Rainbow Bright card. I love it. Okay, I see that I have some green runoff, so I'm going to fix that real quick. But I will probably also trim it down. I'm going to let that dry, and the rest of this is going to be really dark, and it's going to look just lovely. Yeah. Oh, so nice. And so I just have my palette wet, and I'm just using a damp brush. It's not drippy, but it's not dry. It's just a damp brush. And the water in my palette kind of does most of the work for me. Alright, so this is like a teal color. It has a little bit of green. It's number 56. I'm going to use that next. I need like a dark, bright value to offset that red. And I thought that that would work. And it does. I will add some of this Payne's Gray and purple right down here. Oh yeah, that's gonna be fun. That is fun. I really like this bold graphic look. I don't know why. I don't know what started it for me. But I do. I like the contrast. I like the drama. Oh, lovely. Woohoo! Look at that. Woo! That like brings me back to like the 80s child in me, right? That's so fun. I just really love them. Okay. Now this one I'm just going to do, I really like doing these, like, they're called little drips. Basically they are like lines, and then once you get enough you can just like, this drip idea that I have came up with is actually a simple way to play with your color. Jean Haynes has often said, play with the color by making drips and then see how they blend together. And I love doing this. If I wanted to, I could spend all afternoon just doing drips. It kind of helps me see the properties of the pigment, but also it's just fun. So anyways, I let the first layer dry, and then I'll go back in and do a second layer, and then that way my drips don't like get messy or muddy. But it is a fun experience. Another book that I recommend when you just want to play with color is called Field Guide to Color by Lisa Solomon. She is a illustrator, and she has this wonderful Field Guide to Color book on watercolor, and I highly recommend that book. That helped me, and another color experience like this was in her book. And so between Jean Haynes and Lisa Solomon, I got this really fun background idea that I make for cards. But you want to make sure that your layers are dry when you start, because you'll notice that it'll bleed into the next one. And then the last color I do is that dioxazine purple, which is so pretty. And I like hope it like never ever, I hope I can always get this color because I love this color so very much. But there we go. We got some bright rainbow colors to make a fun card out of. All right, let's talk reference photos. So I took this photo right outside my house. It was just perfect. I loved it. And you'll see that I'm just drawing my reference photo. I'm not actually at all following the reference photo, but what I'm doing with this reference photo is I'm getting the greens right, and I'm getting the essence of the picture right. But that's it. It was just inspired. So you can definitely use this photo if you want. It was just inspired by the beautiful rainbow and by the experience of using the rainbow. And I'm just giving myself a small guideline where I want the rainbow to go. But I just love the colors and the essence of the photo. So I'm just getting a nice little wash going, and I'm going all the way through, and I'm not being special about it. And it doesn't have to be a flat wash. It just needs to get, I just need some pigment on the paper, and I'm actually going all the way down to my horizon line because this is going to dry, and I see now that I need a little bit more blue up here. I feel like rainbows should have a little bit of like this purpley bluish color, so I'm going to add just a tiny bit of red right in here. You probably won't notice. I noticed it toned down a little bit. Actually, it looks really pretty. And I like stormy skies and stormy. I just like a lot of movement with my watercolors. So there we go. I think that's going to dry really light. And that's going to be where the rainbow starts. So I'm going to call that one good. It's going to bring the eye in. It's going to be just dark enough. And then I'll be able to have my rainbow right here. And I can start on my trees. Because I'm okay if the trees kind of blend in with the background. It doesn't have to be perfect, but okay. The ground, the sun is behind me when I took this picture, so the sun is shining on the ground. It was just a beautiful, beautiful chance to see a beautiful rainbow, and it was actually right outside my house, so I felt really just blessed to see this rainbow. But I'm going to start with this green, and this green is just going to be very, like, I don't love this green for nature, and that's too much red, but eventually we'll get there without making mud. And there's like, it's springtime, so even if there is a little bit of mud, I'm not going to worry about it too much because it's part of spring, right? And I want it to be very loose, so I might just leave it like that. The goal here is to have the rainbow. I think rainbows are just gorgeous. Alright, let's work on the trees. I'm going to do a little bit, I'm going to paint these trees. And I am holding the paper. I'm okay with that. I'm going to, once my brush is pretty spent with the green, I'm going to go in with this blue. And the blue is going to whoosh around the trees. It's just so pretty. I'm okay if there's some pencil lines showing through. Again, these are just like, this is just like suggesting that there's like trees. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I might even just do that and then make that just kind of go away. I kind of like that just the way it is. I want it to be loose because I want the rainbow to be really just kind of there. So I gotta let this dry. Once it's dry, I'll just paint my rainbow right like this, and it's gonna look really pretty. Now I did get this kind of got lost, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean my brush. My brush is clean, it's wiped off on the towel, and I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna reshape where I want my tree. And sometimes that works a little bit better than if I were to try to mess with it a little bit more. I can always add a little bit more pigment right there. Alright, we're going to leave that alone. That almost looks like there's a little lake or something right there. And I love how these cauliflowers kind of did its thing. It makes it look like grass. So this is turning out to be a really lovely piece. I'm going to let that dry, and we'll come back and we'll paint our rainbow. Alright, so I'm really loving this cute little scene. I have this quill brush. I'm going to start with my rainbow. And we're just going to go. So I'm going to use the tip of my quill brush. And it's just going to go. It's just going to go. I'm just doing it. And the more pressure I put, the thicker the line is going to be, and that's okay. I feel like sometimes you just have to kind of go with it. Whew! And that is really pretty. I am going to kind of fix my line just a little bit. And I want this to be a soft edge, so that's going to do that. And really, the other edge should be softer too, so I'm going to soften this edge as well. And I'm just using a clean, damp brush, so it just looks fuzzy. The line is not hard. The line is very soft. Alright, that looks good. Now, this line should be pretty soft to begin with, but we'll see. So I just have to find my, and I'm going to use my brush right in front, like right, my edge goes right where I want the yellow to be, and that's perfect. I often will use, when I want a certain line to be where it is, I will paint towards me instead of away from me, because I want it to be pretty exact. Now, because this is green, I'm going to have to, I really want the colors to blend together, so I'm going to have to use my damp brush and go right next to the yellow. And in fact, this yellow was not yellow enough. I want a good amount of yellow. There we go. That's better. Sometimes you don't always see it until after. Now I can go in with my green. And I'm doing that same thing. Oh, so pretty. Really proud of how this is turning out. And again, I'm just going to soften that edge with a clean brush. There we go. It has a little bit of water to it. And now I'm just going to use this. You can tell that this is well loved because I use this palette, this water a lot. Now in real life, is this rainbow this thick? Probably not. But that's okay. I think part of the fun, the artistic vision, is that you get to decide. I think that's the best part. Yeah, I'm really liking that. It's maybe a little darker into here, so I'm just, with the green, I'm just moving that with the, that sure is looking alright. So the best tip I have for rainbows is to just have a clean brush. If you want your colors to be bright and to stand out, you gotta have a clean brush. And then it's just a matter of playing with your edges. And there we go. There's my rainbow. Oh my gosh, that's so fun. And I even have a spot. I was worried that I wasn't gonna have enough like negative space to stamp something, but I think if I were to stamp something right here, you make, you know, I don't know, something, a rainbow stamp of some sort, something that talks about light or hope or love, to go right here. And I haven't found that sentiment yet. I'm sure I have something in my stash, I just haven't found it yet, and I'll just stamp that real quick. But it's so perfect, and it's done, and it reminds me of St. Patrick's Day, and I just really like it. Now I do see an issue, and I knew when I painted it, it was gonna probably drive me crazy, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to fix it, but maybe I can lessen it. And I'm just basically trying to erase that little bit of the hump, so it's not. Alright, just real quick, I always like to kind of give you guys an insight into my design process if I can. And so a couple thoughts that I had when placing this stamp was purple gets pretty dark down here, so I wanted to keep the text in the lighter portion, so that's why I had it start with the yellow, and I have it working my way, having it work down. I think anytime we can... And yes, it is very true. Sometimes we gotta stamp it twice or 3 times. I really want a good imprint. So there we go. I think that's perfect. I really love it. I really want my hook shines through right here. And when I'm done, I'll just put these, I just usually wipe it off with a washcloth. I don't do anything special. And this time I want to make sure it's really right the way it should be. Maybe it will add to the contrast of the rainbow. The rainbow is pretty contrasty. I love it. I'm going to leave it the way it is. I really like how this one turned out. It's just going to go on some paper, and that's just beautiful. There. I love this stamp. I think it's one of my favorites. I use it often. And because it's watercolor, I want it to get a really good impression. There we go. I love that. I'm gonna have to let it dry. There's a lot of ink left on that. I think that's about all I'm ever gonna get. I think that's gonna work. That's really fun. Okay. Now it's time to assemble the cards. Alright, so we're almost to the end. I'm just finishing up the cards. I have some foam adhesive on the back of the strips that I chose to do, and I really just had time to enjoy making these cards personalized and like ready to send out to a family member. So I used the simple strips by Tailored Expressions. This one is a Figment stamp by Sassy Club, and I love Figment so much. I love Disney, and Figment just makes me happy. So of course I had to do that for the rainbow, and I just had a ball finishing up. This really was a fun series of cards to make, and it'll be perfect for springtime and summer. So anyways, if you found this video to be helpful, I would sure love a like and subscribe to my channel. I produce content every Thursday, and I really enjoy using these Kuretake watercolors. They are fantastic. If you're looking for a good set, Karatake Gansai Tambi watercolor was my first set, and I still play with them on a regular basis. So I'll talk to you soon, and happy painting!